Thank you.
All right. To those who say they can have no confidence in themselves, aren't you blaming yourself even for things that are not false? People often come to me and say, I have no confidence in myself. Everyone finds it hard when they fail at something or are scolded or when something hurtful is said to them. And people want to take those hard feelings out on someone. Generally, there are two types of reactions. The first is to take things out on others. People of this type blame all their failures on other people and criticize those around them. The second type takes things out on themselves, criticizing themselves more than necessary. The type of person who ignores his own responsibility and criticize others tends to become an object of dislike to those around him, all unawareness. But he may not suffer much from the pangs of self-hatred. The overly self-critical person who is quick to take all the blame may very well be regarded as a nice person, but lacking all confidence in himself, he will suffer in silence from severe emotional distress. If the root of the problem really is on yourself, you must, of course, reflect on it and amend it. But to assume that absolutely everything is my fault, my responsibility, is just hurt oneself without reason, and is not a good thing at all. A 33 years old woman, whom we will call Fumi, came to me for counseling. I have been in the same company for 10 years now. When things don't go smoothly or actually fail, I always feel that it's all my fault. Then I feel disgusted with myself and become depressed. Fumi appeared to be a serious minded person with a strong sense of responsibility. I asked her to tell me in detail about the time she felt that way. It turned out that sometimes the problem was her fault, but at other times it was due to mistaken directions from her superiors, or misunderstanding on the part of a customer, or errors by her colleagues or juniors in the company. You criticize yourself, taking the blame for everything, seeing yourself always as fault, but do you really think it's always your fault? Asked her. Not always everything, was her evasive response. So it wasn't everything, but just a part that was your fault. Where did you go wrong, do you think? Let me see. Sometimes I didn't let the staff know precisely what the customer wanted. Sometimes I didn't let my boss know that things weren't moving forward as we hoped. Sometimes I didn't explain things fully enough. I need to improve in those areas, she said very calmly. So you need to work to improve in these areas, but not in everything, I suggested. Yes, I guess I should look at things that way. You have been blaming myself. I have been blaming myself more than I need to. Thank you for your advice. She had become quite cheerful. Umi didn't realize just where she needed to improve and had been blaming herself too much. She cheered up and showed her new energy when she realized that this wasn't everything but just the part that she needed to work to improve on. We often encounter people who keep saying, I'm just not good. The reason is most likely that they lack self confidence and want the hearer to understand the feeling of an anxiety. After listening carefully to what they have to say, if you replace it, you don't believe they are no good, and ask them for specific details about what they suppose their supposed bad points are. There are not many people who can give a clear and concrete reply. They just feel that they are somehow no good and criticize themselves even for things that no one else would regard as false. Very important, first of all, to get a clear view of the areas that you really do need to improve in. Regarding other areas in which there are no problems, you needn't criticize yourself. Gradually, you will learn to accept yourself. If you're always blaming yourself, thinking that everything is your fault, that is because you have not gained a clear view of where you actually do need to improve. One in this world is completely at fault for everything. No matter who you are, there is you need to improve or only a part of the whole. And there is a picture of a cat who's saying, I'm not good at greeting people, but I must make the effort. And the cat is kind of sad. Yeah, I mean, those things, in my opinion, come with age. When people grow up, they realize that, yeah, not everything can be done perfect, and it should be accepted that in certain situations, results would be less than ideal. As soon as we doing things at best of our knowledge and we trying to do our best, not always successfully, sometimes we fail, but it should be accepted because nobody is perfect. Well, we putting goals in front of us and trying to achieve these goals, not always easy. And like, for example, I would like to eat less sweet stuff, less sugar, but I kind of not always good at disciplining myself in this regard, but doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. Yeah, definitely. There are things I should work on myself, should improve, and should keep track of things that I decided should be my goal, and by some reason I didn't achieve it yet. That's all understandable. It's a work in progress. There is no person in the world who already achieved the state of perfection. We're all working on it. We're trying to get better. We're on the journey to become better. It takes some time. Sometimes we're moving faster, sometimes we're moving slowly. Speed is not constant. Sometimes we can see our achievements, sometimes they're not that visible yet. I think that is very good story, just common sense that sometimes is helpful for people to listen and apply to themselves. Basically, working as a compromise, not always blaming themselves, but leaving some room for self-criticism. It's also helpful. So it's like middle ground. So some not going in extreme on either end, not be too self-critical and not be uh, completely ignoring their own faults. Finding the place somewhere in between is right. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, very good message. Thank you, Stan, for reading and explaining the story for us. Yeah, we don't want to be too self-critical and we don't want to be too proud or confident either. Finding that middle way is the best. Thank you very much. Good job, everyone, for being here. Have a good evening. Bye bye.